had this in mind to write a book, but I didn't
Mhm.
know write about what. But then during those time, I realized that I know a lot about finding a job.
Right.
And honestly, I struggled to get back to work after 7 years of working in recruitment, which is which is very funny. But
Uh-huh.
what makes me to what happens actually, it makes me to realize that imagine that me with knowing all of those tips and tricks, I still
Mhm.
apply with the CV, and I think that it's going to reach somewhere because it somehow become part of us,
Right.
we become so robotic about it that we don't really think about any other ways. So I was actually applying with the CV to get back to work because I wanted to fund my writing. And then
Mhm.
nothing happened after a month of like not hearing anything. I was sitting with my friend, and then I said, you know what? I applied for a job. I'm known in the market. I didn't receive any call, even any call for the interview or any reply on my emails. And then she said, Pega,
Welcome to the UMG Podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Sheldon. As always, we have a beautiful show for you today. Now, if you're new to this channel, we ask you to please like and subscribe in the link below. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, UMG family. We have an outstanding guest on the program with us today. She's a talent expert, a best selling author, an expert in career advancement, business influencer, and also a serial award winning entrepreneur. Some of her awards include the Business Influencer of the Year Gold Stephen Award 2023, Outstanding Business Woman of the Year 2023, and also Top 50 Marketing Influencers to Follow of 2022. She's an international partner with WBAF, and that's the World Business Angel Investment Forum. She's a board member of the Global Women Leaders Committee at WBAF. She's an investor and also a dear friend. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pegah Gol. Well, Pegah, welcome to the show. It's a delight and pleasure to have you on the show with us today.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jerome. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for having me on the show. It's my pleasure.
Oh, no problem at all. So, usually, what we do is we try to introduce our guests a little more personal to our audience so they can get to know who Pegah Gol is, so to speak. And then from there, we'll kind of move into your career as well. So, I know you're currently
Sure,
now in,
definitely.
right. So, I know you're in Dubai at this point, but where are you originally from?
I'm actually from Iran. I came to Dubai in 2007, end of 2007, and my dad had a business here since 99. And I started to looking for a job in Dubai, but during the financial crisis of 2008.
Hmm.
So shall I continue?
Oh, no. Yes, go ahead. That's okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I came to Dubai during that time and I was looking for a job. I couldn't speak English. And
Wow.
I'm sharing this because I want to really highlight that where did I start and where I am now. In those moments, it took me like 8 months to find my first job. And in those moments, I really struggled and I asked for help from everyone, but no one could help me. Not that they didn't want to, but they just couldn't help me. They didn't have the knowledge for that. So I think in that moment, during those nights and days that I was like walking and knocking the doors and submitting my CV everywhere, um, I think in those moments I promised myself that I will help anyone who's struggling that during that situation to find a job. And little I knew that universe got better plan for me. So I ended up become a headhunting and recruitment expert in award-winning recruitment company. So and then I reached to that and I started to working. I started to establish everything from the scratch, so in recruitment agency, and I deal with lots of job seekers and lots of clients. So it's a we call it 360 model, which you're doing B2C, B2B, and I learned lots of things from behind the scene,
Mm,
which is lots of things that we don't see. Like we normally apply for a job and
right.
then waiting for something to happen, which is not a case, especially with the market like Dubai that is quite competitive, and not only Dubai, like in UAE or GCC, it's very competitive. There are lots of people from different from around the world. They are like applying, and you need to have a different strategy to find a job, and especially now the situation has changed and the CV is not really serving its purpose. We are not like 50 years ago that we had our CV in hand printed and then we had our cover letter on top of that. Lots of things has changed, and I
Right.
saw those changes, and I started with LinkedIn when LinkedIn was very new. I started in 2009 and I think LinkedIn was um, founded in 2008. So very beginning of LinkedIn, that it was only to showcasing your CV, nothing more.
Right.
And now it's become like a very giant corporate social media platform that you can use it for lots of purpose. I started with that. I grew with the company, and after 7 years of helping, when I calculated, we're reaching around 12,000 people during those years because I was speaking to 40 people per day on the phone, and I was meeting two talents per day and also
Hmm.
5 clients per week. So like with the calculation it reached something around, I spoke, I somehow come across 12,000 people during those 7 years that personally I was in touch with them. So I kind of built my network,
Mhm.
And also, I started to helping them, going really outside my work and outside my work scope, because the headhunter or recruiter doesn't really need to help with the CV, or doesn't really need to help for a preparation for the interview. But I didn't want to just keep it like that. So if I
Right.
want one maybe advice to anyone who wants to advance their career is just like, don't stick with your job description. Really going outside, going in an extra mile, it's just helping you a lot in the future, which you don't know. So I
Mm.
was actually helping lots of people during those time. And
Mhm.
then I took a year off because of some health issue. And
Mm.
during those time I was thinking, what can I do so to serve people more, and
Right.
to help people, and to do something different and have a legacy. And it's funny because I come across like a kind of course for writing a book. And
Right.
one of the things, I'm just going to flash back to my background in Iran. Iran is an isolated country, and back then we didn't have even internet. So the only way that I can get in touch with the outside world, except obviously traveling, which
Mm.
that time I really didn't have so much of the abroad travel. But the only way to get in touch with the outside was through books.
Mm.
And I was reading lots of books. So books can get you anywhere in the world that you never been, and you can meet with the people that you never seen, even if they're not alive, because in those books they're still alive. Their
Right.
legacy is there, either about their stories, or even if a self-help book. I really admire lots of self-help gurus, or like Brian Tracy, or Wayne Dyer, or like lots of books that I was reading and helping me a lot. And then, so I always had this in mind to write a book, but I didn't
Mhm.
know write about what. But then during those time, I realized that I know a lot about finding a job.
Right.
And honestly, I struggled to get back to work after 7 years of working in recruitment, which is which is very funny. But
Uh-huh.
what makes me to what happens actually, it makes me to realize that, imagine that me with knowing all of those tips and tricks, I still
Mhm.
apply with the CV, and I think that it's going to reach somewhere, because it somehow become part of us.
Right.
We become so robotic about it that we don't really think about any other ways. So I was actually applying with the CV to get back to work, because I wanted to fund my writing. And then
Mhm.
nothing happened. After a month of like not hearing anything, I was sitting with my friend, and then I said, you know what? I applied for a job. I'm known in the market. I didn't receive any call, even any call for the interview, or any reply on my emails. And then she said, Pega, you help thousands of people to find a job. You cannot help yourself.
Right.
That
Right.
was my aha moment. I was like, wow, actually, you're right. And then I said, you know what? This book is going to serve lots of purposes. And the most important things, my intention behind that is just to help everyone that if they might be in that situation that I was in 2009, 2008. And then, so I come up with the idea. I put all of these things, the steps, and I got 3 interviews in 2 weeks, and I
Mhm.
got 2 job offers in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes.
wow. That's excellent.
So the formula was working. So I
Yes.
thought that definitely this is something that I need to put it in the book, and that's my
Right.
book. That's my purpose.
Yeah.
And I came up with this book, which is called The Formula.
The formula.
Yeah,
And we're gonna talk a little bit more about that as well too. Go ahead. We'll talk a little bit
sure,
on that.
sure, definitely. And then when I started to write the book, I got through so much, also some obstacles. I lost my mom, which was
Mm,
so dear to me. And she
mm,
was the one who actually saw lots of potential in me since my childhood. She was like, I knew that you're going to be there, you're going to do this. And then when I decided to write a book, the first one I called, it was her. And I said, Mom, I'm
mm.
writing a book. And she said, I knew it. I knew it. You're not going to write one book. You're going to write many books. I
Oh,
knew it.
wow. Yeah.
Yes, and she passed away, so I was really
Mm,
kind of went to the like a depression a bit.
yeah.
But honestly, the only thing that kept me going was the book.
Mm.
So the purpose behind the book, I was like, I have to make it happen. This is something that it's really it has so much substance in it. So I wrote this book, and it's just published just before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
When I already yes, go ahead.
So that would be a perfect timing, because now people have
Okay.
enough time to be able to read the book, published right
Yeah,
before the pandemic.
honestly, I had no idea what is going to
Mhm.
happen. So I think
Right.
none of us we got any idea. But
That's
what
true.
happened? I just a year before the pandemic hit, I
Mhm.
started to become completely independent. I founded my own company and started to helping people become a career coach and job hunting expert to helping people to find a job.
Yeah.
So, and then when I published the book, I already have lots of gigs, lots of talks, lots of things. It's already booked, lined up. I got more than 15. And
Mm.
then because I published it in Feb 2020, and so the March is a start that all this happened. And then when it happens, I literally started to panicking. I was like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen to my business? What is going to happen to my book? How can I even talk about my book? Because back then, mostly everything was not offline. Sorry,
Right.
not online. It was all offline. And
Right.
then what happened? Again, little I knew that this one is serving a purpose again because lots of people lost their job
Mm.
during the pandemic. And
Absolutely.
when I published that I already when I posted that I published a book,
Mhm.
so it hits number one best selling on Amazon next day.
Wow.
So yes, everyone was like, and the pandemic hasn't started yet. Like it wasn't really happening that strongly, and everyone was asking me, "How did it happen? What did you do? Was it any campaign you did?" I was like, "No, I didn't do anything," but I
Mm.
knew what happened because during those years, I helped those many thousands of people.
Right.
So either they wanted to support me or they
Mhm.
wanted to see what I shared because I shared lots of things tips during those years that they found it very useful. So definitely the book is hitting number one bestseller, but I didn't expect that even it happens like it's reoccurring to 8 times, which
Mhm.
is it wasn't anymore because of that reason. I think because when the pandemic started to getting to point that people started realizing and losing their job and realizing that they need to have a different strategy, so I started to reading the book and started to referring that to others, which is that's why the book got really so much
Extension and stuff.
yes
Yeah.
achievement.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, I tell you what then, because there's a lot in that book, and we're going to try to kind of chip a little bit of it as we go through the discussion. But I want to go back a little bit because you have a very inspiring story. I want to go back to Iran. How
sure.
was it like for you growing up in Iran? Did you have siblings?
I do, yes. I have two sisters, one older and one younger than me. And my dad actually studied in the US long time ago.
Mhm.
And then my mom, the most amazing mom, I can say. And I was a very, very shy child.
Really?
Honestly, yes. No one can believe it now, but I was super shy that I didn't have any friends till age of 15.
Oh, wow.
Only I started to really change by the time that I went to high school. And then it was very much during that time that I I started to socializing more, but I was
Okay.
super shy, super
Mhm.
nerd, and
Mhm.
like I always was the first class student in our not only our school. I was also like getting into competitions and getting into states, our states, and then going to the competition for the at the country level, so. And also we got like something at the age of 10, which where it's like a conqueror, but all the 10 years old they're attending. It's like an
Mhm.
IQ kind of test, and if you're reaching to the certain level, they take you to different special schools. So,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, I got that score as well. But as I said,
Okay.
socially, I was very awkward and very introvert, only in the books. Even I didn't really play with my sisters, my siblings.
Mhm.
So you can imagine that how much. And you know what? Nowadays, I get some people, they're actually coming to me for the confident and communication skills, which I
Mhm.
never portray myself as that, but because they know the background and they know what happened and they know how much I grew and how much I changed. And
Mhm.
so they feel that, if you done it for yourself, you can do it for others as well.
Absolutely. And that's why we have you on the program too, as I mentioned, because your story is very inspiring. And someone who is, watching or listening to the podcast, definitely will be able to take something away from it. So now, high school, you said you were an introvert, basically. You're a little
High
shy.
school, I get a little bit better.
So
And then
you try to bloom up a little bit in high school, so to speak.
yeah, a little bit, because I got a friend that she actually was very naughty. And you know what happened? So the school actually, her parents told the school to put her next to someone who's like very like introvert or something, that not so naughty, so she
Hmm.
can little bit change. But
Right.
actually, she changed me somehow.
Talking about the association, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, when did you leave Iran?
I live in 2000, end of 2007, 2008. But my dad was here since 99. He has
Mm.
a cargo business here. He had a cargo business here. And all my family members, they moved to Dubai, except me, because I got some kind of entrepreneurship in me since the very early stage. And so I was during the high school,
Hmm.
um, I wanted to have money to have a freedom, you know what I mean? So
Right.
because I was getting like um, money from my dad on a weekly basis, but I felt that I need the freedom. So, and I was tutoring, private tutoring my classmates. So I was telling them, okay, how much you gonna pay the private tutor per hour? They were like, for example, $20. I was like, okay, I take $10 and I will teach you, for example, physics
Hmm.
and math and you know other things which is related to chemistry and everything like that. So I was like private tutoring them. And
Right.
I also started the beauty salon back then.
Yes, I saw that. Getting into fashion. What was that? What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, I mean, fashion, honestly, I did it during the time that I took a time off from work, because I went to Milan.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was one of the things that I really wanted to do in my life, the bucket list that you have.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. Actually, I'm really admiring for fashion. And if you look at my pictures and everything, I got that sort of matching and everything from not from even that college, but even prior to that. And that's why, when you have a creativity within you, it
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to bloom somehow, and I give it the try. I really didn't wanted to keep my creativity. So when you're into art, because I really have admiration for art, and I was like even drawing and all this. So you want to create something. The creativity is just forcing you to do something. So salon was very obvious one to start to learning about makeup, about the hair color and all of these things. And then I used to have salon in Iran, and still I not now but few years ago just sold it, sold my share, because it was between me and two of my friends, and we opened the salon. But then when my whole family moved here, I thought, okay, let me just move there as well. I was alone, and we don't have this in our culture to staying alone,
Right.
So yeah, and I moved here really with the thing in mind, because I knew that Dubai is very futuristic even back then. Even like I've seen Dubai in the high, I've seen Dubai during the difficult
Transition.
time,
Right.
from the
Mhm.
in the 2008, and
Mhm.
then even the pandemic during the difficult time. And honestly, I never seen any other countries that they're passing through that with so much ease.
Mhm.
Even 2008, it was very much felt everywhere, but here it was only just a bit of the challenge that to find a job. It wasn't that much. Like I still me I could find a job even in 2008. So
Right.
many people, they gave up, they left, but I'm resilient. I'm not going to give up on
Yeah.
anything, because
Yeah.
I had, goals. I wanted to achieve things, and being ambitious is helping a lot. So I wanted to really achieve something. And honestly, those books that I read during my childhood, and even all the time that I was in Iran, they really, really
Help
helped
you out.
me.
Right. Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. So Dubai. Now, how was it like making that transition into Dubai? Like you said, you left Iran and went over to Dubai. How was that process for you, making that transition?
It wasn't that difficult, honestly, because the lifestyle is quite similar.
Okay.
We have very similar lifestyle, and
Mhm.
the only barrier was the language for me at the beginning. But still, although I was speaking very little English, like, because we in Iran we didn't really need it to learn to speak, properly. And the internet back then, just when
Mhm.
I moved here, it
Mhm.
just started to really spread there. And it was the dial-up, the one that you could
Gotcha.
hear, so.
Yes, the
And
dial
the
up. Yeah.
dial-up was so slow, and if
Right.
you wanted to open one page, it took you like
Oh.
15 minutes just staring at the computer and then
Mhm.
waiting for the page to load. So it was really, for me at the very beginning, was quite not shock, but it was overwhelming.
Right.
And just coming here looking for a job, I didn't know what is CV. As I said, in these 15 years, lots of things has changed. Even in my own country has changed. But back
Right.
then, I didn't know anything about how to write a CV. What is the CV even? And how I can, get myself out of this, how I can win
Right.
my first job, so.
Okay. So now you mentioned about at a period where you were, looking for a job and couldn't find a job, and you being a little expert on recruitment. So what was that the reason? What do you think what behind the reason why you was not able to uh, find a job at that
Honestly, I
time?
didn't know how to really. Okay,
Okay.
like obviously, language was definitely a reason,
Okay.
which I learned as much as I can during those months.
Hmm.
But also, like as I said, I didn't know what is a CV. I didn't know what is an interview. I didn't know that there are like job boards. I didn't know that there are like CV banks that I can post my CV there online. Back then was there, and I had no clue. So with
Mm.
my own thinking, I thought, you know what, let me just see what I can do. So I started to asking lots of people. I started to search. I was going to internet cafes, and I didn't have my own computer and
Mm.
my own laptop, and I was going to internet cafes. So I'm sharing all of these because if there is anyone there that they're thinking that they're not, they don't have all of these facilities, because they look
Right.
at me and they're like, oh, you're so glamorous, you're probably coming from rich family, and then you already got the job with your dad's company. What I mean, all of
Right.
these is not there. Honestly, I really really work hard, and during those time I was just thinking again creatively what could be the best way to find a job. So I started to write my CV, and then I started to going online, finding that okay, I can apply online. But the best thing, I think that I did, and I got a job
Hmm.
because I had a salon and I knew how to do hairdressing and everything. So what I did, I remember, and I'm going to write a book about this, by the way.
Okay.
There are some shoes that it's called folding ballerinas. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but if you search online, you will find them.
I'm
They
sure
are
my wife probably
literally
saying that.
okay, good, great. Then you know it. So these are like very mostly people, they use it because sometimes they're wearing high heels and they may get tired in the middle of the road or something,
Mm.
so they can change it. So
Mm.
for me was the option that I could use it because they're not super expensive. And why I
Mm.
use the folding ballerinas, because I was walking along the very long street in Dubai, and they have all the salons there. So I was like, okay, let me try the salons, because that's something that I know. So let me do something that it match with my expertise as well. So
Mm.
I was getting into that street, that long street, and then I was wearing my ballerina, walking, and I had my high heels in the pocket, in the paper bag.
Right.
And when I reached to the door of the salon, I was folding the ballerinas, putting it in my bag,
Hmm.
and then wearing the high heels because I wanted to look presentable. So but I
Hmm.
knew that I cannot walk with the high heels all the way during that day. So
Right.
I came up with a practical kind of way to do that. And it took
Mm.
me 3 days to finish that street, from the morning and in the heat of Dubai.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Excellent. All right. So now let's kind of looking a little bit into the formula, the book. Now I
Yes.
noticed that you have a connection there with Orange. Uh, can you tell a little bit more about that connection that you have with Orange pertaining to your book?
Yes, actually, since I got the book the book is serving its purpose everywhere in the world. It's helping thousands of people. I don't know, I don't have the count honestly, but it does that. And because of that, I've been approached by Orange, the telecommunication company, the French telecom, and they have like 17 centers in 17 countries in Africa. And
Hmm.
they are teaching fresh graduates some of the expertise, like the very futuristic expertise, like IT technology relevant. So, and they wanted to arrange some sort of day for job and all of these things. It was a career fair or something like that, but it was online. And then they invited me to share certain tips from the formula, and
Mm.
I did that. I think we got like some 100,000, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Attendees. That's yes, and I, along with other panelists, we share. It was 2 days event, and I shared all of the useful tips for the formula, and I'm glad that I could share that with the with the especially fresh graduates in African countries.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was that experience for you? How was that experience?
Honestly, the reason that I really moved from because I was a very successful recruiter. When I started, I was very junior, but I finished
Mhm.
like establishing two recruitment agencies, and I was like the whole country manager and all. And it was somehow reached to the point that I felt that I need to serve more purpose, instead of me just helping someone because I got a job and I'm gonna make money out of it. because I'm placing the candidates, I'm placing the talents. I
Mhm.
wanted more than that. And honestly, that, for example, with those um, workshops that I do or talks
Mm.
that I do for fresh graduate, I feel the most fulfilling experiences,
Mm.
because I don't charge anyone. I don't charge them. It's completely free. But I feel that, I help the future generation, and that's something very substantial for me. I really enjoy it. Even during the pandemic, I
Mhm.
contacted all universities in the UAE, and I told them that I'm going to do a free workshops for their, the last year, or graduates, can graduates students, so we can actually help them to find a job.
Yes. And that's that generosity again that again as you mentioned, you talk about the book pretty much getting the popularity. It's who you are. The book represent that. And the generosity comes out. And that's how people gravitate,
Thank you
towards
so
you.
much.
No
Thank you.
problem at all. No problem. So um now of course the platform here is about helping those in Africa or other places, maybe going through some struggle or trying to start a job, a career, or just start a journey in what they want to do. What would you say would be maybe a three tip that you would give to someone perhaps watching this podcast that's contemplating on trying to start a business from your
Yes.
experience?
Definitely. Okay, the first thing is mindset.
Mm,
Really, it is so easy to blame everything and everyone. And whenever I have clients, I
mhm,
work on their mindset first, because there are lots of thought beliefs that they're actually blocking us to achieving greatness.
mm,
Oh, I came from this nationality, I came from this country, I came from this background, I came from this race, or education, or all of these. And I I had it also in myself. So, and at
mm.
certain point I drop it. And when I drop it, I see the greatness. So before starting to do anything, make sure that you don't have any sort of uh, limiting belief systems in you.
Right.
You can achieve anything that you want, and it has nothing to do with your background, your race, your nationality, your country, um, your education, nothing. You can achieve anything you want if you just start to dropping all of those limiting belief system in you, limiting belief blockages, and then uh, started to thinking, okay, if I'm no one, just me, and without any label of I'm from here, even, what, for at certain point I had a problem. I had a limiting belief system that because I'm a woman, I cannot
Mhm,
achieve. And
mhm,
I know that because I do lots of women empowerment myself. I helping lots of women to dropping that, because it's
mhm.
so easy to get into that trap, and you start to blaming everyone else for you that not achieving your greatness.
Yeah.
I always say, when you are actually pointing out to someone, you have three fingers pointing out to you. So before you blaming at anyone else, make
Right.
sure that you're checking yourself first as well. And one actually also blaming the up, the higher part, so
Yeah.
the universe, or whatever you want to call it. We call it God or Allah, or everyone, I think, believe in something that is might be there. And so we are with that, we are blaming lots of things instead of just looking at us and seeing what makes us not achieving greatness. So this is the first one. It's
Right.
very important. The
Mhm,
second one is that sometimes I see that, again, this is another trap, that we are actually going about the things are trends, and they're not really match with what we are looking for, what
mm,
we really love to do. And sometimes we don't know, and it's okay, so give
mhm.
yourself, especially if you are just a graduate, or if you are just want to start looking for a job, just give yourself lots of chances. Don't be like very rigid, but don't
Right.
also go for after like a trend only if you
Mhm,
don't like it. So it's nice to know at least some basic things of what you like to do, or what you're capable to do. So I may like lots of things to do, but I'm not capable of it. Like, for example, my body won't let me to do it.
mhm.
So those are actually also very important. And the third one is really do lots of research, and not only research about you, research about the market, research about the companies that you want to join and you have in mind. And
Hmm.
something that I see people they don't have it, have a list, have a proper list of the companies that you want to approach. That list actually is your indicators, is your compass. It shows you the way. For example, I know, let's say, for example, Mr. X or Miss Y, they like to approach, for example, Microsoft, Google, or whatever. And the rest, maybe they like to go for like very tech startup, for example. So have
Hmm.
the list of those companies and then started to have a plan how to approach them and all of these, which I already explained in my book. They can read it, obviously. And but definitely, the first, the very basic part is the preparation. You
Right.
prepare yourself mentally, you
Hmm.
prepare yourself with the proper plan, and you prepare yourself with the with the companies that you want to actually approach, and start. That's
Right.
another part, because
Right.
we get into the preparation a lot, that it somehow doesn't let us to get into the action.
Yes. Absolutely. Those are some awesome tips there. So I want to pivot a little bit into WBAF, which you are a member of that, and of course
Yes,
I'm too a member of WBAF as well too. Now you with the Women Leadership Committee, right?
yes.
Okay. So how has WBAF, in a sense, empowered you? How has it influenced your thought process, or so, or help you out with your journey?
Yes, actually, I'm sure that we got certain things in common, and that's why we are there. But WBF is a World Business Angel Investor Forum, so
Mhm.
maybe people started thinking, "How did she ended up in being in WBAF?" Because
Right.
it's like a talent and all these things. So I just wanted to, if you don't mind, I'm just giving you the bridge between where I was and then how did I ended up there. Is that okay?
That's okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, great. So, when I wrote the book and I started to have my own company and everything, I started to realizing that for certain level of expertise, they cannot apply for a job with the CV. So
Mm.
their book, the CV is really not serving any purpose, because there are so many reasons behind it. Let's say if I'm a CMO of a very powerful company, and it's a conglomerate company, and they are everyone knows me somehow in my own market. And if I apply for a job, first of all, it just shows that I'm desperate, because at that
Mm.
level, you're not
Right.
a fresh graduate to apply for a job. And most board members and CEOs, they are not looking for candidates that they're active in the market. They are looking for passive candidates that they're happy with their own job, and then they want to explore maybe better opportunity.
Hmm.
And also another thing, if anyone from your current company started to realizing that, it's very sensitive subject, honestly, because at that level people are very much connected, and
Right.
it will affecting your reputation. So
Mm.
for that they need to have a different strategy, and the
Mhm.
strategy is working on their personal brand, so to
Mhm.
position themselves as a market thought leaders, so the recruiter can find them without them showing that they're actually interested to find a job. It's just like they put their expertise out there, they show off their knowledge, and they show that what they know and what they can bring to the company. So they become known for their expertise, and they become the person to go to. So for
Wow.
that, I started to put certain strategy, which my second book is about that actually.
Okay.
And my second book is about how to acing the personal branding for that
Mm.
level. And
Mhm.
then this methodology, it actually serving not only C levels or VP levels or SVP levels, that they're actually in that kind of level that they need to have a different strategy. It's also
Mhm.
serving coaches, and it's serving tech startup uh, founders.
Mm.
Okay,
Mhm.
Why? Because tech startup founders at the very beginning, they are very tight in the budget. They have like they're raising money in the pre-seed, and then they raising money in the seed round, and then the Series A, Series B, and all of those. But at the very beginning, they are very much tight on the budget, and they don't have budget for marketing. However, we
Hmm.
saw that how personal branding is serving the corporates. Like when I say Elon Musk, you immediately having the visionary guy behind the Tesla and SpaceX and all of these, right?
Right.
So if I say Steve Jobs, you immediately have what in your mind?
Computer.
Apple, yes, computer, Apple.
Apple Peter.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's the face behind the company. The company become that because they work on their personal brand, or even Bill Gates. You know, certain company they don't have the man behind it. They don't have the when I say man, it doesn't mean men or women. It's just like the
Right.
person behind it that it shows that it put themselves out there and become the face of the brand.
Hmm.
So for those ones, it's better to do that. So because of that, I get into lots of tech startup ecosystem,
Hmm.
and because of that, actually, I've been approached um, by WBAF to be part of that. So what I can say that I actually attended the WBAF Congress last year, which was in person in Turkey,
Hmm.
and that one was something absolutely amazing. It's just before that, obviously, I was in touch with lots of international partners, the senators, the high commissioners, but it was all online.
Right.
But then that moment of being in that Congress was
Hmm.
totally different, because from around the world, everyone was attending, and then it was 3 days to do lots of um, you know um, lots of networking. But the best
Right.
part was I was a jury for because we have like a pitch deck for global fundraising
Hmm.
stage, that the
Hmm.
tech startups, they go and they talk about their ideas and their they talk about their company because they want to raise funds. And I was a jury in one of the sessions, and I come across a company that they're using
Hmm.
AI to do recruitment.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, and I was like, I started to ask lots of questions as a jury, and then they realized that I know more in depth than someone
Right.
just like not being in the recruitment. So obviously,
Right.
I was recruitment guru,
Right.
so very much into recruitment. And yeah, and that's how actually I ended up investing in this company. I ended up being in the board member, being a board member. And although the company is based in Austria, but
Hmm.
we are actually also expanding in UAE, because I'm very much this is my home. I'm very well connected here. I've been here for the past 15 years, and
Hmm.
yes, so they actually offered me to join them and being part of the company, and I was very happy to accept it, because the idea was phenomenal, and I really felt that that was a missing link, because
Right.
honestly, I can tell that because I was a middle person. It's not only that the candidates and the talents are actually suffering or having a problem, and they cannot find a job. Also, the employees, the hiring managers, they struggle
Hmm.
to find the proper talents. And there
Mm.
is a missing link in between, which actually at least our company is really facilitating that, with reducing the time, with increasing the efficiency, and with reducing the cost and all of this. So AI is definitely is the future of work, and I'm very happy that I joined this company. So that was a very highlight of the achievements of being with WBAF.
Yes, yes. Because I was even thinking too, how did you, use that AI platform in that recruitment process? But like you said, you came in contact with this company, and I was able to blend that. And that's some of the important there with WBAF. I mean, that networking process, you know, in my case, I just started off with WBAF, so I'm looking forward to South Africa, right, Durban.
Yes,
Hopefully, we get
I
we'll
will
meet up
attend that
there.
as well. Yes.
Yes, yes.
In
Okay.
November, definitely I will be in Durban, and I'm looking forward to. I bet definitely staying more than that, more than the 2 3 days, because I want to
Yeah.
also explore South Africa. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So, Becca, we now come to the fun part of this interview, and
I'm
that's the
ready.
okay. That's
What
the
is that?
5 for 5. And
Okay.
this is one of the most popular segment too on the show. So, as you know, as we mentioned, ask you 5 questions, and then to see how rapidly you respond to the answers, and of course, no pressure. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So all right. So the 5 for 5. Now here's the first question. Your favorite movie?
Movie, Interstellar
Oh,
by
okay.
Christopher Nolan. Yes.
Why you like that? Why is it that favorite?
And Inception. I think all movies by Christopher Nolan are my favorite
Okay.
because it has so much things that very much we're not exploring. I mean, going to the outer world and being in the space and the whole differences and the the black hole and the differences between time and how linear is that, and also the Inception is about just exploring the things that you can do in your dream, and it just
Hmm.
makes you really thinking differently and getting
Mm-hmm.
out of your routine and just exploring other things in the world.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. So here's another tricky one.
Hmm?
Guilty pleasure. What would that be?
Mm. Eating pizza a lot because my cholesterol is high, and I don't really care. I love pizzas.
Oh my goodness. And my of course is the African food. I love my African food.
What
And
is
my
your
wife
favorite?
cassava leaf. That's what we call it in
Cassava.
Liberia, cassava leaf. I mean, and my wife said, "There's too much oil in there, your health." I said, "Yeah, but that's my guilty pleasure."
Yes, absolutely. Yes, pizza is
Yes.
my guilty pleasure.
Okay. So while we're still on, I guess we kind of dive in a little bit with food. What would then would be your favorite? Would that be the pizza?
It's a pasta. It's Italian
Italian
food.
pasta.
Yes.
Okay. Mm. That's interesting. Okay. So let's go
I
to the
think I
next
got
one.
some Italian veins, Italian blood in my veins, So,
Yeah.
and I was really enjoying when I was in Italy. I was in Milan, and then I was
Let's
traveling all the way within the Italy and trying different pastas, different pizzas, because each city they have their own way of doing it, and it was definitely the time of my life. I really enjoyed that.
Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna add a little piece to this puzzle real quick because you talk about Italian part, but now let's go to the Iran. Your favorite food, Iranian food.
Okay, we have like a celery stew,
Okay.
and it's something that some people really don't like it, and some people they love it, and I'm part of that. I am the people that I love it.
So you
Yes,
have the quiet taste for it.
yes, it's a very delicious stew actually.
Okay. All right. Now the next one is one thing that you don't have that you would like to. Well, let me phrase that one more. One thing you don't have that you need and want.
That I need and want.
Like you need or you want. One
It's
thing
a
that you
proper
don't have.
partner.
Yeah. Okay. And now you use the
Yes,
word proper.
because yeah, I really use that because as you become more independent and
Hmm.
you start to grow and growing quite fast, it is quite it becomes really difficult to find someone with that certain mindset and ambitious. And
Hmm.
I try that if it's not really matched, then it is I enjoy working. Like some people, they asking me like, why you are? I mean, what do you do during the weekend? I said I work because I love my work. I love what I do, and when you love, you do what you do. It's not a burden. It's not something that makes you tired. I enjoy it. So
Hmm.
maybe finding someone that is just enjoying as much as I enjoy what I do, and because we become like a team and a dream team, then that's something that I really feel that I'm looking for.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. So now the final one, the final question, last but not least, your final words for the UMG family.
I think I'm a very good example to show that
Hmm.
you know what you can achieve. I'm not reaching to my peak or top, or I don't feel that it's really I'm there to maybe say. But I always look back and see where I was, and um, some Iranian girl who couldn't speak English, walking with the folding ballerina shoes to just get her first job, to getting in the boardroom. I paid to be part of the companies, and I'm paid a board member not only for this company. I have like five different company that I'm part of them, and it, it is lots of hard work. Definitely, I work sometimes for 16 hours a day, which I'm not really recommending that. But
Hmm.
that example, it can shows that you can achieve, and really don't look at some destination. The whole way is your destination. You can enjoy the the difficulties, the best part. And I was always thinking that somehow someday I'm gonna share my story with people, and I'm gonna inspire them, and here I am. So if you're in your difficulties, in your difficult moments,
Yeah.
always think that you might be a sense of inspiration for other people if you pass through that.
Yes, absolutely. And well said, too. Thank you so much, Pegah, for being here with us. And that was the reason why I sought you out so much to get you on the program, because I know the incredible story that you have. And of course, we wish you the best. As you mentioned, you are still heading on that journey. So we thank you for at least pausing a little bit to kind of walk us through that backwards to kind of see where you came from. So thank you so much for being on the podcast with us.
And thank you so much for having me and considering me, and even creating this platform. You're definitely doing something substantial, and I'm sure that it will be your legacy for all of the, especially people in Africa and Liberia.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so UMG family, we thank you for being part of the show today for us with the episode. We hope that you were able to listen in and, of course, take a little bits and pieces from the conversation that you can add on to your journey as well. And so, as always, we say jump, but don't jump too high because you have class. We'll see you in the next episode.